Welcome to the Salesforce Admins Podcast. This week, we're joined by Amit Malik, a cloud content portfolio lead at Salesforce. Guess what we're digging into? That's right, Agentforce and Data Cloud. But we're going to talk a little bit different. It's about how admins can confidently navigate AI in their orgs. Amit brings over a decade of instructional experience and delivers a fresh, clear-eyed framework of thinking about AI agents. Trust me, you're going to want to hear this framework. So whether you're new to Agentforce or looking to level up your implementation game, I promise you, Amit breaks down the essentials with clarity and care for us. Plus, we also talk about why doing, not just watching, is a key to learning. Because, as admins, we do some instruction as well. So it's good to learn from an instructor. Before we start the show, just a reminder to press follow on that podcast platform that you're listening to us. That way you get new shows right on your mobile device so you can listen to them when you're out mowing your yard, which is what I will be doing after I record this episode because it is summer and the grass is growing and it is gorgeous outside. So enjoy this episode with Amit. Go walk your dog or go enjoy some sunshine if it's pretty out where you are at. So with that, let's get Amit on the podcast. All right, Amit. So welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
I know a few years back you were on to talk about the architect mindset, so I'll be sure to link to that episode. But now we're talking everything Agentforce and Data Cloud and metadata and Customer 360. But for people that haven't been around listening to the podcast for 3 years, and there's a few of them, could you kind of reacquaint the audience with what you do at Salesforce and kind of your journey to Salesforce?
Sure. I joined Salesforce in 2013, and I've been lucky to teach audiences across the globe on Salesforce technologies every year. And I've trained on different topics about Salesforce, like whether it's about teaching administrators or developers or consultants, architects. So I've been fortunate to talk about Salesforce aspects to different audiences. In my current role, I am working on as a cloud content portfolio lead, where I'm specializing in Agentforce and Data Cloud. So my role is to plan what kind of courses should we offer to our customers globally so that we can enable our ecosystem on Agentforce and Data Cloud.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to learn. I think of, I started using the platform back in 2006, and even trying to keep up is a lot. And so I can imagine learning constantly. There's so much.
It's easy. I would say nobody cares what we know in the past. What matters is what we are working today and for next 12 months.
Well, there you go.
So I've always retrained my mind that what I have done in the past does not matter today. What matters is what I will do in next 12 months.
So let's talk about what we're going to do in the next 12 months. I would love to know, this is going to be my first hard question. They're all hard, I think. Not to scare you. I don't think it's hard. But I am curious because you're on a different side of the fence than I'm at. What is different about teaching AI than teaching other technologies?
I would say the interesting part here is there is knowledge explosion in the current times. And when a learner is learning, he has multiple channels to learn from. And there is no direction. What is the right way to spend your time? So what we need is knowledge distillation. We need to tell our learners, if you only have 10 hours, what should you learn in your first 10 hours? Or if you're not time bound, what are the first 10 words should you know to do your project better in next 3 months? That's my suggestion, that we should stop the noise and try to develop our attention span in this current time of knowledge explosion.
I really like that because there is a sense of needing clarity when there is this much noise out in the world. Do you find when individuals come to your classes that they have a preconceived idea of AI that you might have to work past?
Yes, because the interesting part is that, for example, let's take a word AI agent.
Mm-hmm.
If someone is learning about AI agent from Google perspective or OpenAI perspective or how Claude thinks about it, how we think about it at Salesforce, we may have different explanations. But at the core, AI agent is an AI system. So once we start getting a clarity of thought that where are we heading, we are trying to suggest how do you build a digital labor who will work along with the human at present. Once you know the goal, I think then it does not matter. Like, what is your understanding? You just need to understand why are we learning AI agents? Just because
Mhm.
people are saying about it, or do you really believe in the spirit of, oh yeah, it makes sense. If I can get my job done autonomously by a AI system, I can be more productive than I am. I think that's where the why has to start first before you start doing what is what.
Yeah. Yeah, I often think a lot of times solutions come before people see problems. And so they make up problems for the solution when in fact they didn't need to make up the problem. They already had it.
Very well said. Very well said. I would say in a different way that for every problem, agent force is not the answer. So we need to find out a use case and say, oh, this is fit for predictive AI. This is
Hmm.
fit for generative AI. This is fit for autonomous agents. So when you start as an architect, you start questioning to yourself, how should you think to arrive at a solution that, oh, this is a use case of agent force now.
Yeah, absolutely. So as somebody that has instructed admins, architects, probably even developers, I mean, you run the gamut, because I know I've signed up for developer courses. If you had to describe Data Cloud to an admin and give its relevancy, what would you say?
Very good. So think of data cloud as a ocean of all your data from multiple data sources.
Hmm.
It's a one repository where we want to bring data from multiple data sources. It could be Snowflake, it could be Databricks, it could be AWS, it could be any data source in your enterprise business. And once we have all this data in data cloud, that can act as a knowledge for your agent. As the analogy, think like this: when you join as an employee to a new organization, you need to learn about the systems. In the same way, we want to give the knowledge about systems to our agent so that they can understand the business and then talk to the customer on our behalf about our business.
Yeah, and I even think beyond just the customer. I mean, even the employee. If you only set up an agent to look internally within your CRM data, that's almost like giving them a book. Whereas if you use Data Cloud, it's like giving them a library. Is that a kind
Yep.
of a competent analogy? Would you use that?
Yes. So see, data cloud is in simple way exposing all the data sources and how we attach it to the agent technically with the help of Agentforce data library. So we do not want our learners to get worried about data cloud so much because in the future or in the present world we are trying to encapsulate the plumbing of data cloud. So if you have worked on agent, we just ask you to upload the PDF file to Agentforce data library, and then we take care of all the plumbing behind the scene. So as an admin, you just need to know how to upload your data, and we take care of everything. And that's the beauty of Salesforce platform, that we try to make things simple because our engineers have done a complex job for you.
Yeah. The irony is it's usually the businesses that make things complex with processes or approvals or reviews.
That's fine. See, we cannot change the business. I think as a technical person, what I've learned over the years is never challenge the business, rather adapt to business.
Mm, that's very good.
Because that's a very important learning. If you keep on challenging, because as a technical mindset, we always think, no, business is not right. But hey, business exists and that's where technology exists.
Yeah.
So we need to adapt to the business needs. And that's where, as you grow as an architect, your fight is not to learn technology, because you will have lot many people under you who knows much better than you. But your job is to understand what business value business needs to create And how do you bridge that gap with the technology solution?
Yeah.
That's where the real fun is, You tie up the business outcome.
And I feel like, because I was just going to ask you, back to our first question, how do you kind of filter out the noise? I feel like your previous answer is kind of that, right? Like really focusing on what the business outcome, the business need is, right?
Yeah, so I would like to give you a very small framework which I have been using for myself as I've been learning Agentforce from the front, and I'm lucky to be
Ooh,
part of all the teams here whom I interact with internally.
I love frameworks.
So first question I would like to give to my learner is ask yourself, do you need AI agent? If the answer comes yes, that yes, you need AI agent, then move forward in Agentforce thinking. Because it could be that you can handle something without AI agent and you don't need it. Once your first question is answered to yes, then you move to the second question. What agent type do you need? For that, you need to know what agent types are offered by Salesforce. Like we offer, say, customer agent, which is implemented through Agentforce service agent. We offer employee agent, which is for employees. We offer sales agents like SDR agent for initial outreach and booking meetings. We have coach agent, which is for coaching and mentoring. So once you understand our offerings, then you see, okay, given a use case where customer says, I want my agent to answer business questions and handle my refunds or tell about my loyalty balance, we know that I need something for service. I need something for customer. So I need a customer agent. So once you start reasoning that I need an agent and I need a customer agent and I can implement customer agent using service agent, then comes the third question. What topics do you want to assign to this agent? Now, topic is a very interesting vocabulary which we have launched in Salesforce ecosystem, which is how do you define a job to be done? So think of topic as an aggregation of your business process. So if you want your agent to work on, say, loyalty balance check, so that's all the questions about loyalty balance will be handled by loyalty management topic. So that loyalty management topic is like a grouping of all the actions. Once you know the right topics, that do you want to leverage the existing topics like standard topics like say general FAQ or escalation, or do you want to make a custom topic? Your third question is answered. Once you have answered the third question, the fourth question is how will you provide data to your agent? And here where your data cloud come into play. Because agent is dumb. Agent does not know anything about your business. So to provide the value to your agent, you need to connect your agent with the data library. And now with Agentforce data library, we support web search. We support files. We support your knowledge articles. So once you understand how do you want to educate your agent is now having a data about your business. Once these four questions are answered, the fifth question is, do you just want agent to answer the questions or do you also want agent to act upon it? And customer says, no, I want agent to act upon. And then comes the fifth thing, which is what actions do you want agent to perform? Now, this action is where the magic happens. And this is where all the administrators and developers can start working on leveraging their past knowledge. So if you're good in flows, you can have a flow agent action. If you're good in Apex, you can have Apex agent actions. If you're good in API, you can have MuleSoft calls, you can call external services. If you're good in prompt engineering, you can use prompt template. So depending on the use cases, we give you 4 reference action types, which is flow, Apex, API, and prompt template. Once you have answered to these 5 questions, now you know a lot about solutioning. So this framework will help you through how to position a right solution for your customer.
I really like that. Thanks for sharing that. And I was thinking through as you were talking through that, because internally we use Salesforce on the admin team to manage our content. And Josh Burke built what we call Agent Goat, which helps us answer questions and create relevant records. We even did something fun. I don't know if you think this is cool. We think this is cool. We uploaded the release notes to Agent Goat and gave that as a resource.
Wonderful.
Yeah, because then we can ask it about new features.
And recently we launched our Salesforce documentation action. So we can just plug in
Uh-huh.
that action to our agent, and now it can start answering questions based on our Salesforce documentation.
Yeah.
We just launched.
I mean, there's so much to do.
Yes, that's a fun thing. Once you understand that agent is nothing but aggregation of topics, and topic is nothing but aggregation of actions, and actions can happen on your data. So agent, topic, action, data. That's a master framework.
Right.
Once you start thinking on these four words, agent, topic, action, and data, everything will start falling into place.
So I'm curious, and I genuinely don't know the answer to this, but have you been to any of our events and happened to see any of the agents that customers have built that you find really inspiring?
Yes, I was lucky to be part of TDX Bengaluru hackathon.
Ah, yes. Tell me more.
It was so wonderful to see our customers showcasing the real use cases, that let's say job application agent said some student is applying for a job, that how we can have an agent which can read the resume and do the shortlisting and send the further steps for the candidate. Or
Uh-huh.
it could be other scenarios which customers were showing on in insurance, that how we can process the claims with the claim agent. Or as we know in the Conquer, for example, expenses, how we can have expenses being reviewed by agent and auto approve, saving a time of senior management to approve the expenses. So see, once you start thinking of use cases, then the value is derived. The value is
Right.
not in technology. The value is in applying the technology to benefit the customer and improving the customer experience.
Yeah, and would you also extend the customer for admins and architects and developers to users of Salesforce, not just external customers of your organization?
Yes. So let me define this. So here, when I say customer, so customer is, say, Marriott, who is buying our Salesforce license, or
Mhm,
any customer who buys our Salesforce license. And then
mhm,
in that customer, we have employees who are using our product. They are our
mhm.
end users. And if this customer is further implementing our solution for their customers, then they become end user.
Yep, that makes sense. I mean, I'm curious, as in the instructional side of Salesforce and having done instruction for a long time, how do you see, if you were to look into a crystal ball a year out from now, how do you see AI influencing instruction at Salesforce?
See, it's very funny, I would say like this. Everyone believes that in the future, we all will learn through Chat GPT, Claude, and we'll keep on learning through
Hmm.
AI tools.
Hmm.
But to me, there's a need for clarity of thought, because if you don't know what to ask, you will never get the answer. So the magic of learning is your curiosity. So as everybody's moving, we are moving towards AI teaching us step by step. But if you do not know how to leverage AI, then AI will be useless to you. So the art of learning is to become curious. And once you know how much curious you are, then AI or human does not matter. Then you can learn from AI also, because you know how to ask right questions. So I think
Hmm.
in my mind, education is not about the instructor. Education is more about the learner. If learner is good, he can extract more from a teacher. If learner is not curious, then teacher or AI does not make a difference.
That's a really powerful point.
This is my experience of teaching for last 20 plus years, that I've seen some interesting audience, and it changes the whole class when you interact with the different kind of groups.
Yeah.
Just a good example, the way you are asking me questions, that is
Yeah.
a prompt to my mind, and I'm giving you live answers. So you are getting best out of me because of you, not because of me. So it's
Right.
just a very interesting phenomenon to understand, that it's all about how much you extract from my mind. My mind is prepared.
Yeah, I never really thought of it that way, of when you go in, because I've taken, as a customer before joining Salesforce, I've taken quite a few of our, I believe, 5-day or 4-day classes, instructor led. One of those was with Wendy Braid, and
It's amazing.
they were all great, but they all, to your point, all of the classes were different, and they're different. Well, one of them just because the instructor is different, but because the people are different, and the goal of what the people are trying to get out of the instructor changes, and it also changes based on the level of curiosity. I think you said that of the learner, right? So if they're genuinely curious, they're going to get more out of the learner than if they're just kind of sitting there expecting to be brought up to speed, right?
Exactly. I would like to add
Wow.
one more point to this discussion here.
Oh, please.
So the role of the instructor is not information sharing. Information is available in abundance through internet channels these days. So the goal of the learner is to help learner connect to their business goals. So when a learner is listening to the instructor need to understand what is the goal learner trying to achieve in their business goals. And you only get to know that when you're in the classroom. Before that, you don't know. So how can you plan your speech? And that's where I believe in dynamic speeches, where the real agenda gets opened up when you start engaging with the real audience. Topic remains same.
So I just had a question pop to me that I really thought brings this kind of all the way 360. One of the roles that admins, developers, and architects play is your role. They have to be an instructor to end users when they roll out a new feature, whether it's a new application, data cloud, an Agentforce agent, or whatever. Part of their role is to teach their end users what the feature is, how to use it, how to be productive in their role. With your vast experience in teaching and educating individuals, what advice would you give to people that kind of have to temporarily step into that role and be productive?
I would say listen more, speak less, think more, and process your thoughts. Articulate your answer well before you speak to the listener. Because sometimes we try to propose what we know and what we want, but that is not the winning edge. The winning edge is trying to understand what is the business problem customer is trying to solve. And then in your mind, you know all the products what we offer, and then find out the best solution and say, this is what will suit you. Use Agentforce Service Agent, and that will solve you in this use case. Let me show you how.
Yeah. Well, that's powerful advice. I mean,
It takes
you
time.
would think it would be the opposite, right? Talk more but it sometimes there's a reason we have two ears and one mouth, right?
I agree. And I have learned, again, I'm fortunate, thanks to God, that I've learned this I've been teaching for more than 20 years now. I've learned this skill in real world, that the best teachers speak less and personalize to diversified audience, where every audience should feel that he's speaking for me.
Yeah, I like that. Thanks so much for coming on the podcast, Amit. I appreciate these check-ins and really giving us this perspective on what our team is doing to get people up to speed and really also just have admins and developers and architects think about how they can be better educators themselves when they have to demonstrate the platform to their end users. I appreciate this.
Thank you. I would just say at the end, as a good practice, make sure you are spending at least 30 minutes doing something on the Salesforce org. There's nothing which is better than doing something. People are watching YouTube, people are reading blogs, listening to podcasts, but 30 minutes of doing on Salesforce org is the most powerful experience.
Absolutely. I mean, if you look at if you follow pro sports or any entertainment, all of those players practice for a reason, and it's not just to get not just to be out on the field, but it's actually the motion and going through it and keeping themselves sharp. And the same holds true for us. Thanks so much for coming on the podcast, Amit.
Yes, thank you. Excellent. Thank you for the opportunity.
So that was a fun conversation with Amit. I always appreciate instructors coming on the podcast because not only do they give us insight into instruction, but they also give us insight into how we can be better instructors. So it was great to have him help unpack the agent topic action data. I know I've done a lot of Agentforce Now workshops and I've walked through that framework before, but hearing him say it kind of helped me even make sense more. Like the knowledge boxes in my head don't jiggle around. So it's making sense to me now. I love that he left us with some tools to teach, learn, and lead more effectively. And don't forget his advice, which is 30 minutes in your org beats 3 hours of theory. That's good thinking. If this episode helped sharpen your focus, could you do me a favor? Pass it along to some fellow Salesforce admins, friends, user groups. I would love if you could do that. And until next time, we'll see you in the cloud.